What is happening, YouTube and weight loss warriors? It's your boy C-Dub, and I'm back with another video. And today I want to talk about my weight loss failures and what I learned from them, and I'm going to do it right after this. What is going on? My name is C-Dub, and if you're new to this channel, I lost 125 pounds eating just one meal a day or OMAD. I'd like to welcome you to the channel. I started this channel to hook you up with tips, tricks, knowledge, and ideas that I learned along the way in my journey to help you out on your journey. I'd like to welcome you. I hope you become a subscriber and a weight loss warrior. And to my subscribers, my weight loss warriors, the people that support this channel and help it grow so that I can reach new people and help them out on their weight loss journey, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for subscribing and being a part of this channel. It means the world to me. And today's topic is a good one. I want to talk about my weight loss failures. And what I mean is I've lost weight and regained it probably 3 times in my life. But one of them was not that significant amount of loss. When I was in 7th grade, I lost probably 30 pounds and regained it. That's not really, something that I need to share. But I lost over 100 once and I lost over 80 once, and I regained on both of those times. So I figured it would be nice to share it with you. And the reason why I thought that would be nice is because simply I think intelligent people learn from their mistakes. But I think ultra intelligent people, people that are super smart, are able to learn from other people's mistakes. So if I can show you some of my mistakes, maybe you can learn something from that and apply it to your journey, and then you won't be in a bad situation on the other end after you've lost your weight. So I want to hop right into it, and I want to start talking about my first time losing a significant amount of weight in high school. And what had happened was I had gained a bunch of weight because I was a party animal. I was doing a lot of drinking and just everything under the sun when I was young, and I was not eating right. I was eating fast food all the time, and I was just doing whatever I wanted to do. And I was in a blood pressure lab in my science class, and my partner couldn't get a reading on my blood pressure. Now, at the time, it was something that ended up being, when the teacher did it, like 180 over 110. And so it was terrible, the worst you could ever imagine. So my dad was a pharmacist. I called him from school. He said, hey, look, you got to get you to a pharmacy and put your arm in one of those machines and see what it reads. And it didn't read any better. It actually read worse. It said 180 over 120. I went to the doctor, and the doctor, God bless him, he's my pediatrician at the time. He looked me in the face and he said, listen, your parents may not, I was in the room by myself. He said, your parents may not know you're drinking. They may not know you're partying. They're obviously not feeding you well. You're obviously eating what you want. He said, but I'm telling you now, you're not going to see 30. And he said, I can give you blood pressure medicine, but I don't believe in giving a 16-year-old kid blood pressure medicine. He said, listen, Chris, you control this. You are in charge of whether or not you get better. And he said, all you need to do is lose weight and stop living the lifestyle you're living. And I went home and I mulled that over for a while, and I decided that living to 30 was something I wanted to do. And so I talked to my dad, and we came up with a plan. And the plan was to cut fat out of my diet. And in the 90s, that was the trendy thing to do. It was before the Atkins had come in strong towards the end of it. And basically everybody was cut. Everybody was making low-fat products and no-fat products. And so we just cut everything that had over 3% fat completely out of my diet. And I started right there. And then the weight started to come down. In the process of losing the weight, I rejoined the wrestling team. I started taking jiu-jitsu, and I started lifting weights. And the combination of all of these things together were just huge in results. I lost 100 pounds in less than a year, and I went from being about 270 to about probably 65, so a little bit more than 100 pounds. And I was a very ripped and very physical 165 pounds at 5'9". I had abs. I was a strong kid. And, I took that and I just ran with it through the rest of high school. Had this big ego. You would have hated being around me. It's just the way it was, though, just being honest. And so in the process of the next few years after high school, that's when things got a little bit tricky, because slowly but surely I started to slip out of the no-fat thing. And it started with the first time I remember one of my friends was having a celebration of some sort, and I was over there and I was offered pizza. And I just couldn't turn them down. I'd been doing it over a year without cheating one time. And here it was, they were just offering me one slice of pizza. And I was like, okay, I'll eat the pizza. And I ate the pizza. And then I noticed there was no movement really in the scale. I was still looking good and feeling good. And I said, oh, okay, maybe it doesn't affect me that much. And then I remember Independence Day, the movie was released. And my brother and a couple of his friends and I were going to go check that out. And they wanted to go by McDonald's. I haven't eaten yet. So I said, what is eating McDonald's one time going to do? And then I ate the McDonald's. Now, I weighed myself the next day and there wasn't a big weight gain. And so I started to think kind of the opposite. I started to think, why am I beating myself up over eating this McDonald's when I'm not even gaining anything from eating McDonald's once? I can eat McDonald's more. And so, you go from eating it once in a blue moon to once a week to every other day to then daily. And, you start to slip back into your old habits. But I didn't gain a ton of weight. Over the next few years, I'd only probably gained 20 pounds. And I was probably pushing 185. But at 185, I still looked pretty good. Now, I did not have the ab definition. I wasn't as ripped, but I felt stronger. I definitely was stronger in the weight room. And I still was doing jiu-jitsu, still going to wrestling every day. And I was still lifting weights all of the time. And so I was in a situation where my fitness levels were pretty high and I was feeling pretty good, even though I was a little heavier than maybe I should have been. And then after that, I got my knee injury. And that's when things went terribly wrong. I had a surgery. Coming out of the surgery, I got an ACL. It was ACL surgery. Coming out of that, I got a staph infection. And this was in the year 2000. There was not a lot of information about staph. And I'm allergic to penicillin. So that was just a nightmare combination that kept me in the hospital for over 17 days. And on a PICC line for 6 months. And I didn't walk without crutches for almost a year. And so in the process of that, I never stopped eating the way that, the way that you just would, I guess. And in the process, when I was sick and in the hospital, I dropped back down to about 160. I remember putting on my pants from 160 and saying, oh, wow, look, I lost that weight pretty easy. But I was sick, And so when I came back off of that and just kept eating the same way, but my activity level went from, 2-hour wrestling practices, an hour of jiu-jitsu and a weight training, session a day to nothing. Of course, the weight started to stumble on me. And I remember my first year coaching high school wrestling. I was the head coach. And here I am at the end of the year. I took a picture with the team. We're all lined up. I'm on the end. And when the pictures came back, I looked at the pictures and was like, who's that fat guy at the end? And I knew it was me, but it was very hard for me to admit it. I remember looking at that picture and saying, hey, listen, I'm going to do something about it. Next year's picture will be all right. Well, next year came and I was even bigger. And I have still not taken a picture with my team since the first year I coached. And this coming up season will be my 20th year as a head wrestling coach. I've never taken a formal picture with them. Now, I have taken a couple of pictures recently with them when we win things or whatever else, but I used to avoid all of that because I felt like I was going to just look off on the camera, and I was embarrassed for myself. And that weight piled right back on slowly. So what I learned in that first group, that first weight loss session was, if you can't consistently do it, it's not something that's going to work out well for you. And that's what happened to me. The exercising is why my weight was off. I was burning a huge amount of energy a day and I was able to eat a lot more. But when I stopped burning the energy, I stopped being able to keep the weight off. And that's a lesson that I think we need to learn now is whenever you're eating, if your weight is going up, and you're doing a nice fasting protocol, you're doing all the things right, but your weight is going up, you have to look at the intake of how much food you are taking in. And then you have to cut that back or increase your activity. You have two options there. Maybe you can do a little of both if you don't love either one of them, but you've got to make a combination there. And that's something that I kind of learned there was that balance yourself a little bit better. But the next time that I lost weight was well after I was married and all of that stuff. I stopped eating fast food on my son's first birthday. I'm not on his first birthday, but the Thanksgiving when he was 1 year old. And now he's 11. So I have not eaten fast food in 10 years. And the reason behind that was I had gotten sick eating McDonald's on my way to Thanksgiving. I missed Thanksgiving dinner. And I said, I'm eating McDonald's so much. I'm eating all this fast food. I don't feel good. I'm done with it. And I cut it out. Right about then, I got online and I found a website that at the time, it doesn't even exist anymore. It was called eatbetteramerica.com. And it was alternative recipes that get your calorie level down, that get your fat level down, whatever it was at the time. So I started got with my wife. We picked out about 20 recipes we liked. We started rotating and cooking those recipes. That was kind of the staple of it. And then I walked. I got on a treadmill, even with the hurt leg, and I walked for 1 hour a day, every single day, for probably about a year, and I lost 80 pounds. And now I was way up in weight. I had gotten down to about 230, and I felt okay at 230. I wasn't amazing, but I felt pretty good at 230. I felt like things were going well, but of course, my knees started to hurt again, and therefore I stopped going to the gym. And then the walking stopped, and I continued to do better with the Eat Better America, but the weight crept back up a little bit. And somewhere about 250, 260 pounds, I just stopped weighing myself. I gave up on the idea that I was going to be able to keep this weight off, and I used my knee as an excuse as to, well, I can't do the exercise, so I can't possibly lose this weight. And that's when I broke. That's when I kind of mentally broke. And like I said, I stopped weighing myself. I had bad sleep apnea. I went into a sleep clinic much later on, years later, and I found out that I had sleep apnea. But at the sleep clinic that day, I weighed 312 pounds. And that was a wake-up call moment for me, like, oh, wow, you've got to do something. But I still did nothing about it. And I think that this is where the problem lies. I was completely 100% broken mentally. I could not handle the diet thing anymore, and I was always gaining the weight back. I did not have a reliable answer to what was going on. So what I learned from the second one was that we cannot use a crutch like an injury as an excuse to slip back off of what we're doing. That there are going to be these hiccups and bumps, and we have to constantly adjust it. So if you're out there every day and you're going to, like, let's say you're going to be like me and you're going to walk 10,000 steps and you're doing it every day, that's roughly 3,000 calories a week you're burning, 3,500 calories a week you're burning, which is 1 pound. Right? So that's 1 pound of energy you're burning every single week by walking, but then you get a twisted ankle and you can't walk. Well, if you continue to eat the same way you're eating when you twisted your ankle, you're now going to gain 1 pound a week. And that over the course of time, if you're out for 8 weeks on an ankle injury, you just gained 8, 10 pounds. That's a big deal. And then your ankle may not feel the same, or your knee or your hip, and then you use that as an excuse and it snowballs. So we have to be very, very careful about what we're doing when we're making excuses. We have to understand that this game is a balance game, and finding the balance out is the key to this whole thing. Understanding I can eat this much and I need to move this much, and I can keep my weight at this level or lower my weight. That's the idea here. And when you've come up with that plan, if you can't move as much, you have to eat less. And that's just the facts. Or if you don't want to move as much, if you can't stand exercising, you've got to reduce the number of calories or the number of food you intake. And I know insulin and all of that's going to play a part of that. I'm not arguing any of that. What I'm trying to do is tell you, though, that you have to be real with yourself and you have to understand. And then, as you guys know, I found intermittent fasting, and the rest has been history. I've been able to keep it off. I've been able to work it down. I've been able to do everything I need to do. I added walking in there. And even when I got rid of strength training because of this, pandemic going on, I still have been able to maintain my weight within 5 pounds or so of what it was at the lowest in this journey. And that's not an easy thing to do in the middle of this pandemic. It's very difficult for everybody to keep themselves cool and on a positive level there with the weight. So I think that ultimately, if I leave you with anything on this channel, it's going to be the same message that I've given you 100 times over again. But it's great to be reinforced and hear it again. And that message is simply, you have to be consistent. And when you stop being consistent, what happens is the further you get away from what it is that got you there. And then that is where we fail. And I think that you can see that in my journey. In both cases, I was doing the right thing. I was plugging away. I was doing some things right. But I started to take breaks and I got farther away from what was right. And when you get so far away, you turn to look and you can't see what's right anymore. That's when you're going to end up with a big F and a failure in this situation. So you got to keep it close to your vest and stay consistent day in and day out. I hope that this video was helpful. Right here is a video I think you're going to love. YouTube thinks you're going to love this one over here. Pick one of those guys. I don't care which one, but just stay on my channel, please, if you can. My face is right there. That bad boy will subscribe. Click on it and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for being a weight loss warrior. I'll talk to you on the next one. Peace.